couple minutes late. Sorry about that. I think you can see that I have a good reason for that. Actually, 5 good reasons for that at the moment. Because, yeah, they overran me this morning. What the hell? Why won't that go down? There it goes. Honey, they don't want to look up your butt. They does not want to look up your butt. Give me 1 second while I go and share links so other people can find us and hang out with us. We are on locals this morning. So if you would rather go over there and you can actually chat about whatever you want, you can post memes in chat, you can, yeah, much more fun in locals. Unfortunately, you do have to pay to get into locals. I'm not going to beg you to do it. I'm not going to ask you to do it. I'm just going to say if you want that benefit, it's there for you to go and get it. So, who is talking? Hi, Cora. Good morning. Good morning, Chubbs. Chubbs is probably still in bed, I guess. Or did he have to get up and go out and use the potty? Ow. Come on, you guys. We need to work this out to where you're comfortable so you guys will just sit down and chill out, please. It's asking me to join my own live stream feed. Oh, I'm losing a fluffy. Hold on. I saw I saw the picture. It's definitely nippy here. We got down to 45 last night at the lowest. It's 46, 47 right now. Um, Sorry, I had to save the fluff. He was falling through my knees. Good morning, Mr. Thomas. How are you? Welcome in. Glad to have you here, sir. Thomas is like our Norm, you know it, from Cheers. We need to get Thomas to come up with some really good comebacks for when I yell Norm or Thomas. Tom, when he comes in, he has to have a snappy comeback, like Norm had with, it's a milk boat. It's a dog eat dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear. That was one of his best. You know what I mean? What cover she goes. Alrighty. That takes care of one kitty, and it's not. Yeah, we don't have our heat on either. I thought, little girl, what in the world are you doing? Chat here. Aha, it's gonna be one of those days. Can we work today? Be great. Thank you. Have to save Fluffy again. You'd rather be Cliff? Oh, Cal can be Cliff. Okay. Cal's the crazy mailman. I can see it. All right, I got one more place to share links to. Actually, we'll get to. Is Cal on? I see somebody else up there. All right, now we're going to go to Spurgeon. What's up? No, I guess it's still just my ugly ass. Sorry, guys and gals. I'll try and get you some computer, but you're only going to get mostly cat ass. So I have Tiny, Fluffy, Fluffy here, Tiny here. Sweet Pea is stuck in the middle, completely buried all that's out of their head, right here. And then at the front of the line here is Whiskers. But as the title infers, changes are coming in many, many ways, I believe. You know, the biggest change from yesterday was the harvest of the crops. The fields are being taken in. So the landscape looks completely different. And so you can see a lot further now. You can see a lot of stuff that you haven't been able to see for a while. Um, so it's kind of nice, for that change, right? And then you have the change of, good morning, Jay. Give me a sec. I'll shoot you a link if you got a couple minutes. You can hop up here and say good morning to everyone. If not, you can give me the finger and say, I'll see you this afternoon. But the other big thing right now is the temperature. Mwah. Nice little kiss from the whiskers. But it was 45 degrees this morning when I woke up. And we're only going to get up to, okay, bud. I just figured I'd throw it at you. And if you could, you could. If you couldn't, you couldn't. No big deal. We will definitely chat with you later. So tell the kids to have a great day at school, and yeah, you be safe and have them be safe, because there's stupid fuckers everywhere. But yeah, I need to get busy in here because I think the fire pit's gonna end up in here with me when I'm doing shows. Mhm. Fire pit. Fire pit. So, what a trip these guys are. I'm only missing one. I'm missing Tangerine. I don't know where he's at. But like I said, I want to get the fire pit out here. There's enough room around it that I don't have to worry about it. We're getting that wind um off the lakes, aren't you though, Cora? When you get that wind off the lakes, that just chills everything down even more.
No kidding.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Sorry, I forgot I hadn't shaved.
Oh, no problem.
Unlike you.
So, I shared a video on Discord this morning talking about false preachers. And would you believe that with the history of the Bible, there was a preacher who actually said that you could not be saved if you had a beard?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, some of these people are fucking nuts out here trying to deceive people and take them in the wrong direction.
Well, I mean, just let's look at the beard issue for a second. Islamists, Muslims, they wear beards. It's part of their culture. It's not necessarily part of the faith, but it's a huge part of their culture. If you don't have a beard, we're on YouTube. I can't say the word I was thinking of. If you don't have a beard, you are still considered a little boy, and thus, subject to various
coming of age thing.
Yeah, put it that way. So I can understand why such a preacher would say something like that if he was thinking of Muslims and their propensity to have beards. Oh, that is a thing worn by not heretics, but heathens. Something worn by heathens. Therefore, it should not be on the face of a good Christian.
Interesting.
Also, if you look at the schism between the different sects of Christianity, various sects of Christianity, like the Amish, they tend to wear beards. They're strange. Well, yeah, but you get the point. Is that it's part of their culture too. So again, said preacher could be looking at all these different aspects of parts of Christianity and say, oh, well, you know what? They're all wrong. Obviously, I'm the only one preaching the absolutely correct thing. Ergo, these people who are also wrong are there for beards. Ooh. Can't be for those. Got to get those off the face of good, honest Christians.
Right.
I mean, so I can understand where this guy may have been coming from. And I don't agree, but I can kind of, the camera got twisted. Had the cats in here, and they bumped the camera from its little locked position. Speaking of which, you got a lap full. But yeah, no, I can see where this guy was going. I get it.
Good morning, Mike.
Agree, but I get it. Hello, Mike.
Thomas said he was born with a stash.
That's funny. I was born with a full head of hair, and then I lost it after a couple of weeks.
You guys, I need to pour coffee.
That's what I'm having. Some nice fresh Java. Oh, freshly squeezed too.
I set it up last night before I went in.
Smart.
The house.
Was it frozen?
That way.
Was it frozen when you got outside?
No, it's not that cold yet. Thank God.
I'm about to say it's like 46 here.
It's about the same here. It's not horrible, but definitely sweatshirt weather.
for you.
Yes, I know I'm weird. Most people would be out in jeans and heavy jacket.
Not even 46. That's long sleeve shirts, yeah, but I
I'm still
guess
in my shorts.
there are some guys that'll wear shorts even in -70. So that's not even that's not even a metric.
That's me. I wear shorts and we can have 3 feet of snow on the ground and I'm walking outside in shorts and sneakers.
Now, see, you get somebody from Alaska and he's going to be saying, oh, 46. Oh, God, that's T-shirt and shorts weather. That's booty shorts weather. That's too hot. It's all a matter of perspective.
I don't need to picture a burly, muscular, hairy man from Alaska running around in fucking booty shorts. Thank you.
Now, see, my one buddy from California, he was 4th MP Company, 4th Infantry Division before they reorganized the MPs. And he was at the DMZ between North and South Korea, and he had a guy in his unit from Alaska. In the middle of the snow, he was out there in booty shorts and no shirt and saying, let's go play football.
Oh, my.
Yup. And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? This is nice, warm weather.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, so do I, Mike, but that's because my legs look like a tarantula with trichophilia. Trick. The shorthand is trick. It's a disease where your hair just starts to come out for no reason.
Oh.
I had a good friend about 20 years ago. She had that it was a psychological disorder for her. She would pull at her hair. I don't pull at my leg hair, but it looks like I do. It's patchy and it's ugly, so I refuse to wear shorts.
So you deal with that. I know my dad deals with psoriasis, and when he gets a bad breakout, he doesn't like to wear like short sleeve shirts or shorts or anything like that when he broke out.
I get that on my fingers. I know it's a form of psoriasis.
This year he had it really bad on his hands. I don't know why.
I did too.
I think it has something to do with the dry weather. And then on top of that, he was wearing latex gloves a lot.
That'll aggravate it. So will stress. Stress will aggravate psoriasis.
He definitely stresses himself out a lot.
There you go. That's part of the reason. And then having the psoriasis, looking at the psoriasis, feeling it peel off of you, that adds more stress. So it starts to feed into itself. Speaking of feeding into itself, Jesus, Milton is going to be an absolute nut buster.
Yeah.
I am going to say this right now. In the roughly 30 plus years that I have been casually studying tropical cyclones of all kinds in preparation for one of my desired careers, which never panned out as a meteorologist, I have never once seen a tropical system start on one end of the Gulf like this and go to the other end of the Gulf like this while taking a dip down to the Yucatan Peninsula. This is, in fact, the very first time I've ever seen this path. I have also never seen a tropical system intensify from 0 to 5 in this manner, in this way. Now, I have gone and checked with various sources that are relatively neutral, and more or less, when it was at its peak intensity just like yesterday or so, with 180 plus mile an hour winds and an internal pressure of 897 bars of mercury, it was at the mathematical limit of what the basin could possibly create as far as a tropical system. And just to add to things, the eye is incredibly tight. It's 3.8 miles. That is very small for an eye.
Tighter the eye, the higher the wind.
Which also means that the surrounding eye wall winds are going to be that much more ferocious.
Yep.
which means, when they say 200 mile an hour wind gusts, those wind gusts could last, instead of just a second or two, 3 to 4 seconds. That's enough to cause some serious danger. I mean, this whole thing is going to be like dragging an eraser across a map of Central Florida. It is going to hurt. This is going to be a bad one. This is why I have told everybody all over heaven and creation, if you are anywhere near Central Florida, you should have gotten out already, but get out now. Just drop what you're fucking doing. Get your go bag, get your 24-hour kit, grab your pets, grab your meds, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Go someplace else. But because it's heading straight for Central Florida, you have options. You could try and take shelter in Miami. Hell, Miami's not even predicted to get that much rain out of this system. So you could drive down to Miami.
Go down to the Keys.
Yeah, well, the Keys might be getting a little something. So stay close. Don't go all the way to Key
Okay.
West. But you go down to Miami. You could, just head for the southern part of the state. They're going to be relatively intact. Or you can head all the way up to Atlanta. They opened up Atlanta Motor Speedway as a free campground for evacuees from Florida. So, just get the fuck out the area. Just leave. Just drop everything and go. Don't even try and board up your house. Because if this thing is going to come in at, if it repowers up to 180, because it's, I believe it was at 155 the last time I checked, because it was brushing up against the Yucatan Peninsula, which is it's choking off some of the flow. But once it breaks free of that and it starts heading towards Central Florida, it's going to power up again. If this thing is going to be, it's probably going to end up being, I'm going to call it right now, it may be the first or second most powerful storm in Atlantic history so far. It's going to be that bad. Just get the fuck out. Don't even bother. There isn't going to be very much left, especially at the point of impact. The city of Tampa is going to be absolutely devastated. The Tampa Bay area is very heavily urbanized. There is going to be a level of destruction there like you couldn't possibly imagine. You want to know what it would look like if the Russians decide to drop a nuke on Tampa Bay? You're about to see it. You are about to see it. We are going to probably see at least a handful of skyscrapers collapse. This is going to be apocalyptic in nature. It is going to be that bad. I'm not going to say what's going to come afterwards because we already know. We just saw, with a few weeks' notice, what's going to happen next. We already know. The problem is that, like I said, there is going to be so much devastation there. You're better off just leaving. You're better off just running away. Just get the fuck out of there and come back to an empty concrete slab and start over. This is why, they pay an insane amount of money for insurance in that state because of shit like this. This is one of those times where, they're going to be like, well, you know what? I was paying, $8,000, $10,000 a year almost in insurance, but now I'm kind of glad because I've got, all this wonderful coverage. It'll take a few months to get me a house again, but at least I've got the money to do so. This is going to be one of the worst. It's really going to be one of the worst. It's going to make Andrew look like a picnic. And Andrew was pretty bad. I remember it made almost a direct hit on Homestead Air Force Base and tossed those F-16s around like fucking toys. Destroyed some of the hardened concrete bunkers that were designed to withstand a relatively close-range nuclear blast. Just shoved them down like they were made of nothing. Proved that they weren't, in fact, prepared for, an atomic device and the overpressure thereof. No, this is going to be absolutely apocalyptic. It is still probably going to be a Category 2 hurricane by the time it breaks through Florida and gets back out into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, let's talk about one of the positives. This is a small storm. This is a very tight storm. It's also picking up speed. Those are all good things. Since it's not a gigantic blob, in fact, I think its diameter is smaller than Helene. The damage area is going to be relatively focused, which means that just outside of those areas it's not going to be too bad. It's still going to be bad, but it's not going to be as bad as it would be if this was, a fat blob of a storm and say only a Cat 3, because the devastation is going to be focused on a very small area, like a laser. This is good because it means that recovery will be a bit easier. You're going to be able to see a very, very clearly marked line where the devastation starts and where it ends. which is going to aid recovery efforts as well. Another good thing, Ron DeSantis, Mr. Meatball himself, which I now say is a matter of pride, as much of a pain in the butt as his wife was, that man is all over this like white on rice. They have a governor there that is going to do everything in his power to make sure that this situation gets handled. So props to him. Hell, he even told Kamala off. He told her, to do what she usually does. We all know what she usually does. We all know what she likes to do.
Knee pads on the carpet.
Yes. He told her to go away. Don't try to push yourself into this situation. We've got it handled. We don't need you.
Thomas said that he'll just stick with the cold.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather have cold than I would rather deal with a blizzard than a hurricane. There's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, just briefly, one of the reasons why a hurricane is worse than a blizzard. With a blizzard, all you need to do to remove the danger is a flamethrower, and it will just melt and go away, and it will melt at a rate that the ground can get rid of it one way or another. Either you're pushing it down the street into the storm drain, or it melts and goes into the ground if the ground's not completely frozen. It's a lot easier to get rid of a whole bunch of snow than it is to get rid of a whole bunch of water. Because the water is deep and standing up to your knees. Do you have any idea how much snow that would be? For all the rain they got?
What is it? For every inch of rain, it's 3 or 4 inches of snow, I believe.
Yep. Now, they got, in some places, 30 inches of rain. That would be roughly...
We would have been like Tahoe last year.
Worse, it would have been 90, 120 inches of snow in some places. 120 inches of snow.
Yeah.
That's 10 feet of snow in 3 days. That would have been just Ice Age level apocalypse. That would have been absolutely devastating. But I would rather, because blizzards don't get that bad. We get 6, 8, 10, 12 inches, maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet if you're up in the mountains and you're catching it real bad. And let's say it's the good heavy stuff too. Get up there, you get your stick sheet, and you clear off your roof. You just make sure you keep doing it a couple of times every so often, just to make sure that the weight does not crush the roof. Or you get one of those nice roofs that have saw it somewhere. It was a roof that had a chemical coating on it that just caused snow to just slide off when it accumulated too much and just slip right off on its own. Then you get neat snow bunkers all around your house when it piles
we had
up
that
like
in 93. In 93 when we had all that snow, Katie was just showing me because it was just this is like the 33rd anniversary or something for shit. But we had 16 to 18 foot snow drifts in front of my house from the drifting. It was great. I was still in high school then, so I was in good shape. So we were just tunneling through it, playing in it. Our main concern was getting to our goat. We were worried about her. Not remembering that she's a fucking Angora mountain goat. We got down to, we killed ourselves trying to shovel because she was in the bottom field on the other side of the garage from the house. And by the time we got on the other side of the garage, we hear her yelling at us, and she's up on top of her house. And she jumps down, and she's just having a great time in this freaking snow. Thomas says 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow. Really, that much?
It could be. It could be if it's really light and fluffy stuff. On average, it's usually 1 to 4 to 1 to 3. And if it's the really wet and heavy stuff, yeah, it gets, the ratio decreases. It's all about how much air is in the fluff pack, I guess you could say, or how wispy the individual flakes are. If you're getting a really, like lake effect snow, that stuff's usually very, very, very moist. That stuff gets thick. You may as well be digging through ice cream. I remember that one year in Chicago, we actually got lake effect snow because a low pressure system basically dropped right over the shoreline, and it kicked all the snow off of the lake right onto the shore, which usually doesn't happen. Lake Michigan usually dumps on Michigan and Indiana, but we got it that year. Oh, that was terrible. I want to say I was 7. Yeah, I was 7. It was 88. And oh boy, we got 3 days off of school for that because there was so much snow. Mind you, they got it cleared in 2 days, but it was a Wednesday when the snow hit. So, because it was, yeah, actually it was it was a 5 day. Yeah, it was a 5 day weekend. We just ended up going to school Monday and Tuesday, and then that also kicked off Christmas vacation too. Because Christmas
morning,
vacation.
Andrea.
Good morning, Andrea. Because it was butting up right up to winter vacation, so they just said, you know what, screw it. We were not going to make the kids come back for 1 day before Christmas vacation. Just forget it. Just keep them home. So we got an extra day, even though the streets were clear and everything was fine. But the first 2 days, oh my God. I mean, the village I lived in, they kept the main roads clear. They were very good about that. And Chicago has a good reputation for keeping the streets clear even in winter, because that was the thing that cost Mayor Daley's father's successor his job and got one of the first non-machine candidates to win the office of mayor in many years. It happened in the 70s.
No.
So, but this blizzard took us completely off guard. We were predicted to get something like 6 inches, which, for Chicago, that's no big deal. We ended up getting 18 overnight. I know they panicked and started setting the snow plows out because I saw one from my window, desperately trying to battle the snow, and they gave up on the side streets after one pass. And they just focused on keeping Wolf Road and 47th Street open. And because those are the 2 main arteries in our town. Other than that, the next day when we went outside, my backyard was up to my chest almost. It was amazing. And that was when I still had snow pants. And I got them all tucked up in my snow boots. And I just dove into the snow and freaking swam. It was like swimming in ice cream, even though there was no flavor to it, of course. But it was just delicious, pure snow. I remember making all kinds of snowballs and shit and just flinging them around and having a grand old time. I was outside once I realized Christmas or school was out. I was outside for like 3 hours. And my mom was finally like, Cal, get inside. It's cold out there. Mom, I'm wearing my full suit. I'm okay. I'm nice and warm. And I was playing with my sled at that time because we had a slight slope to our backyard. With the snow, it exaggerated the slope. So I was actually able to fling myself down with a bit of momentum. And I got like almost all the way to the garage several times. And I was making a challenge out of it. She's like, get inside. I'm like, all right. We couldn't even leave the house the first day. The second day, my dad finally managed to tunnel all the way to the garage across the yard. And by then, once he got to the garage, he got the snowblower out and he snowblowed our entire driveway. Got that cleared and got us almost all the way to the street. And just as he did, that's when the snowplow started hitting the side streets. I remember watching him too. He got all the way out to the skirt. He was about halfway done with the skirt. Here comes the snowplow, kicks all the snow from the street right up onto the skirt. And the guy in the snowplow actually slowed down, looked at my dad, and was like, sorry. And my dad was like, because then he had to do all that all over again. But he finally got us poked out.
Wonder how many people threw the shovel at those shovels at the plow drivers.
A few, I know. But that was when I got out to when my mom took me down to Tischler's. It was the local grocery store. Got down there. My best friend Paul and another friend of mine from school were out there. And there was a mountain They had cleared their entire parking lot. They actually had a private snowplow come in and clear out their entire parking lot. This was back when stores actually gave a damn about their customers. But they had the entire parking lot cleared, and they had mountains of snow just outside of it on their parkway. The biggest mountain must have been 20 feet tall, easily. I mean, and we scaled that sucker, but it was solid, heavy snow. And I remember going hand over hand, climbing all the way to the top of that huge frozen mountain. We finally got up there. We cleared off a seated area at the top, leveled it off flattish. And like we could just see the whole neighborhood. That is one of the prime memories of my childhood, is sitting on top of that frozen snow throne. By the next day, it had warmed up enough that the frozen snow throne had melted almost about half size. It was sad. But for the hour or so that we got to climb all over it, because our moms were inside shopping, that was one of the greatest memories of my childhood right there. Oh,
glorious, huh?
It was glorious. Back in the day when you could actually trust your children to be outside, leave out a plate of sandwiches at lunchtime, let them drink from the hose. We were fine. We'll come back in when the street lights come on. We'll find something to do. Me,
I'll be in when they yell for you.
Yeah. Me, I'll be in the backyard with my G.I. Joes, my Green Army men, and I'll be fighting giant freaking wars, having dramas that rival Mexican soap operas, you name it. You know, that was us. Yeah. Oh, heck, I got a friend down in Mexico now. And he says, you know why the telenovelas are so bad? I'm like, why? It's like, because they have to be that ridiculous, because our real lives are just about as bad when it comes to family drama.
He's not wrong.
Well, he's not, because El Mayo, the guy that recently got nabbed by the DEA and stuff, he was actually turned in by El Chapo's son. This guy had never been caught. There were 2 existing photographs of this guy. I mean, he was such a freaking hermit. He refused to leave his drug lair for hardly anybody. The only one that could get to him was El Chapo's son. And now there is infighting in that cartel because of what this guy did to get rid of him. Because, El Chapo's son was like, you know what? My dad helped found this. I know you helped him found it, but my dad, I'm the heir apparent. I should take over. No, you're just a little shit. Oh, yeah? All right, fine. Why don't we go to Texas on vacation? Yeah, that turned out so well.
That's not a good idea if you're a drug dealer in any situation.
Yeah, well, that's how this guy got caught. I mean, literally, 2 existing photographs. Nobody knew what this guy looked like. Nobody knew who he was outside of El Mayo. And they flipped El Chapo's son in order to get him, and now there's a civil war because El Mayor's family is very insulted. Because how dare you go to the gringos to get this guy out of the way? No, you're supposed to do this the normal way. You're supposed to kill him. If you've got that much hatred for this guy, you should just kill him. You don't go to the gringos to get your dirty work done. Just a second, Chief. You kill him. You do things the honorable way. No, he's going to be a dick. He's going to be a dick and do things his way, which is betraying everybody to the gringos. So now there's massive infighting. There's word that somebody said something, and there was literally a legitimate slap fight, apparently, like Three Stooges level slap and pie type fight that went on between the women of the 2 factions.
Yes, my cats are definitely crazy, bud.
Yeah. You're going to have to excuse me for a minute because Chief over here is having an emergency. I've got to take him out before I get a wet floor.
No problem, bud. We'll be here when you get back. Oh, my. These guys are making me tired now. What the hell? I was doing good, too. Yes. Yes, I love you, too. She buried her head in my hand. So what's everybody up to today? What do you all got planned? We got 8 people on today. Let's see. We got 6 on YouTube, one on Rumble, and one on Locals. Well, welcome in, everybody. If you're on Rumble and Locals, can you say hi, please, so I can see what's going on there? And thank you for your support if you're on Locals. The only thing I'm going to say is if you want to have more abilities to on Locals, you can share full pictures in chat. And you can talk about a lot more things than you can talk about on Rumble or YouTube. So, but it does cost. I think it's $5 a month, unfortunately, to join Locals. I have no control over that. I make as much of the content free as I can. You can read it or watch it, most of it. Unless you pay the $5, you can't chat though. You can't leave comments, stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's there if you choose to use it. What were you kitties up playing, chasing mice all night or something? Huh? That's nothing, Mike. So I go to come out this morning and I open the washroom and Cinder's going nuts. Cinder wants in this washroom and I'm trying to figure out why. Hey Jay, have a great day, bud. We'll talk to you later. But yeah, Cinder wants in this washroom. I'm like, why does he want in there so bad? And I pop the door open. I come into the washroom. I'm starting to sort my stuff to take him come out. Because, I got two cat food containers, one for the in the garage, one for out in the out back and stuff. And all of a sudden I hear something crying at me. I'm like, what the hell? And welcome back, Cal. Welcome back, sir.
Sorry about that.
No problem. But yeah, so I walk in the washroom door and I hear something meowing at me. I'm like, what the hell? There's nothing should be in here. Here, when Mom left, she left Fluffy in the washroom and left him there. So if I wouldn't have got up and had to come out here, he would have been stuck in the washroom for who knows how long. Poor little guy. Okay.
Thank you, Andrea.
We actually have somebody on Locals this morning.
I see that. Feel sorry for them. They're all alone.
Yeah. They got this. I don't know. There's a couple people that are members over there, so they have access to being there. I think Andrea is one of them. Andrea Thomas, I think, is a membership over there, and
yeah.
I think Teddy and Bear, I think, has a membership.
Oh, I don't know if this has gotten mentioned in any of the previous shows. Just to underline how fucking useless the failure of emergency management agencies really is. They can't go around road closed signs.
Really?
Government safety regulations. If there's a road closed sign, they're not allowed to go past it.
Huh. Well, that explains some things.
I'm thinking right now, you know what? I'm going to get me a couple of road closed signs and put them at either end of my driveway. They won't be able to approach me.
I took in one of the videos that I saw yesterday. was a lady sitting there saying that she called for help, and they said that they wouldn't send anybody in because it was too dangerous. And she's like, try being out where we are. Um, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh
We're
yeah,
supposed to have people trained to fucking do this. Why
oh
were
yeah,
they not called out?
and it gets better. They only work 9 to 5, and they refuse to work weekends.
Fire them all. Bunch of fucking entitled
I mean, this on top of all the
pricks.
accusations of them stealing supplies, chasing off volunteers. Oh no, you have to be trained by like the United Way or some shit like that.
Hi, Jamie. Good
Last I
morning.
checked, the United Way is a freaking non-governmental organization. Never mind the fact we already know whose pocket it's in. It doesn't matter. That's an NGO. So a federal agency is saying that I have to be trained by an NGO. They are declaring this NGO to be so good that they're certifying it as a federal level of training, and I have to be trained by them in order to do something. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense right there. But on the positive side, thanks to 2 court cases that happened earlier this year, Chevron deference is basically dead, which means FEMA legally has no authority to do any of the shit that it's actually trying to do. They are bullying and intimidating people without the authority to back it up. This on top of several local sheriffs and state police also saying, you know what, if FEMA starts interfering with their operations, we'll simply arrest them. We'll simply arrest them. And good news, a bunch of special forces and ranger veterans in the North Carolina area have formed a new volunteer unit known as the Redneck Air Force to join the Cajun Navy.
Good.
See, now all we need is for Vermont to find its balls and reform the Green Mountain Boys. Then we'll have all 3 areas of the battle space covered: land, sea, and air. I like it. I love just how Americans can come together and, just tribalize and instantly go in and be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do shit. Get out of our way. We're going to fix this.
Well, and that's how it should be. Our government shouldn't be getting in the fucking way. They should just let people do what they need to do to get things taken care of.
As far as I'm concerned, the only thing FEMA really should be doing is they should be managing from a relative distance, not micromanaging. Their job should be to, okay, well, we've got, 500 pallets of MREs that are sitting in a warehouse over here in Poughkeepsie. Ship them down to North Carolina. Get them out there as fast as possible. We've got 500 pallets of fresh bottled water sitting at Clark Air Force Base. Get it out there. Where's the nearest airfield? Just drop it there. Just get the stuff down there. Get it into the hands of the local agencies, local fire departments, police departments, whatever, and do that. Oh, we've got a mountain rescue team that's available from Colorado, for just throw that out there. We've got mountains down there. Get them down there, find them a flight, go through MATS or make them a priority. Find them a C-130 if you have to. Get them on the plane, get them down there. That's what FEMA should be doing. On the ground, if there's anybody down there, the only thing they should be doing is walking around with a clipboard saying, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And writing it all down. Okay, we need penicillin, we need insulin, we need diapers, we need dog food. Write it down, hand it off to somebody. Within 12 to 24 hours, have that stuff down there. That's the only thing that they should be doing. They shouldn't be telling everybody how to do things. They're already experts there. There are people that know those areas there. If you're coming down from freaking New York or Pennsylvania or Maine or Los Angeles or wherever, and you don't know that area, you don't know some of those hollers up there, you don't know what that place is like, you shouldn't be the ones dictating how things are getting done. The only thing you should be doing is facilitating the locals into getting it done. If there's anybody down there, the only thing they should do. Uh-oh, it's a Cora.
Good morning, Miss Cora.
I need to turn this one down. Morning. How are we?
I'm furry.
I am.
Yeah, I kind of see. I saw that. You are furry.
He's
All
covered
that
in
pussy laying on your
cats.
lap.
He's covered in
Actually,
cats.
I didn't realize
Hey,
Whiskers was still there.
call it what you want.
I poked him in the forehead and didn't mean to. And there's one cat I can't even see anymore. They're just completely buried.
Oh, that was nice and warm, that's for sure. They make
Yeah.
your balls sweat over there, I'm sure.
I don't know. I got a little bit of a breeze at the moment the way I'm sitting, so it's balancing itself out pretty nicely.
Air them puppies out, are you?
Keeping them medium. They're not too hot, not too cold. You know. Oh my. How's Chubbs?
Man, it's shit. He just now got his ass out of bed. He waited for me to take my shower and drink my first cup of coffee, and now he's out here since I'm in the kitchen, thinking, okay, I can have breakfast now.
Mm.
He's gonna only go outside and he's gonna
He
hit
was
that grass
cold
and
too.
be like, fuck this.
Mm. Yeah, Chiefer's
It's
actually.
only 63 in the house,
It's colder in my room because I keep
so
my
it's a bit
window open.
nipply here this morning.
I got an empty closet in my room that I set it up as Chief's winter quarters. I got some really
Right.
thick blankets in there, really fuzzy ones. It's all nice and cozy. He usually doesn't sleep in there. He will sleep as close to my bed as he can. He doesn't like getting up in it because I thrash without Mrs. Cal to hold me down anymore. I thrash a lot. So he doesn't like getting up in the bed. It's dangerous. So he will try and sleep as close to the bed as he can. But it was below 50 since about 3 in the morning. And he slept in the closet last night. That surprised the hell out of me. He's actually slept in the closet. It was that cold.
Thank you, Andrea.
41 where Jamie is. That is nice. Now, see, if this cold front actually dips south, and it dips south a little bit harder than it is, it might actually weaken Milton a little bit. But
it could also push it a little bit more south too.
It could. There's also a low pressure system sitting over the Bahamas. That's the reason why Milton looks like it's going to do this weird turn. It's because there's a low pressure system that it has to go over. It has to go over or under, and if it's being brushed up to the north, then it's going to get shot out by this low pressure system. The only problem is that low pressure system could develop into a tropical system too. Although, honestly, I see it getting sucked up by Milton if it's going to be too weak. These two systems get too close to each other, they're going to have what's called a Fujiwara interaction. And if the other system is sufficiently weak, it'll just get consumed, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's down to 145 miles an hour. That's not too bad. Its pressure has also risen from 897 to 929 millibars. Those are all good things,
That's
but
good.
it still has quite a bit of distance to go before it hits Florida. So I don't know. This thing is just looking chancy all the way around. I don't like it.
Mike says it's 44 degrees in his shop and it sucks.
44 would be nice.
I don't know what it is outside here. I think in the 40s, 30s. Got down to 38 last night, I think.
Yeah.
38. I don't know what we got down that way.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Milton, interestingly enough, the hurricane force winds are very, very tightly wrapped around the core. The actual hurricane part of it, that isn't just a tropical storm force wind. It's actually very small comparatively. This is a very tight system. I've seen a couple of other systems like this. One of them was Mitch, I believe, but I don't know. This may not be quite as bad as we thought it was, a few hours ago. It's still going to be bad. Still going to be bad, and I'm still saying anybody who's in the area, just fucking get the fuck out of there. Don't even worry about it. But it's not looking quite as bad as it was a few hours ago. We'll see how it develops as it gets over the Gulf. It's got a nice jaunt of a couple 100 miles there. Let's see, where is it right now?
Hot water. Yeah, I was wondering. That's what I'm worried about, is that hot water. It's going to really fuel it up.
Yep, it's got to travel about another 500, almost 600 miles to get to Tampa. If it continues along its present course or its expected course. It's got 600 miles to get to Tampa, and it's going to make landfall right around Tampa. At least that's what it's projected to do.
Maybe.
Well, that's what they're currently saying. That's what they've been saying all along. And if it ends up doing that, like I said, that 600 miles that it's got to power up, and it's traveling at about, 10 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour? Okay, yeah, it's heading east-northeast at 12 miles an hour. So it's got a lot of open water that it can cover and draw strength from. And this is a very tightly packed system. That is actually a good thing. The tighter and smaller it is, the less devastation gets spread around.
That's what y'all say.
Meh. I knew that was coming. Get it? Never mind.
Uh-huh.
Bad fun.
Yeah, I know. Burr. Shit.
Stretch. Yeah. Like I said, I want to get enough room cleaned out here. I can bring my fire pit out.
Ooh, fire pit.
I don't have to worry about the carbon dioxide, monoxide, all that shit, because this is a oversized car, oversized 2-bay garage that'll hold up to 6 cars.
Nice.
And it's got a loft up top that's open. So yeah, I could put a freaking actual wood fire burning in here and not have any issues. Which eventually we might do. We might actually put a wood stove in.
That's nice.
And that would heat my office, my studio that I'm going to put out here eventually. That's the plan anyway.
Sounds wonderful.
Well, that way I'm out here and I'm far away from everybody. I'm not waking anybody up when we do our morning shows. And I'm not getting bothered by people outside yelling and screaming and shit. I can soundproof it and all that shit.
That too.
So yeah. I just have to put a
I have the
kitty door
chimney
on.
sweep
so
coming today, this morning, or all.
Hey, when he gets there, you better tell him you better dance like fucking Dick Van
I'd
Dyke.
already had a fire lit.
Or he's fired.
You better have a cute little English accent to go with it.
Right. He's been coming here for the last 7, 8 years, every 2 years. He's a nice enough guy.
Nice. Oh, hell, what happened?
I don't know.
We lost Cora?
Uh-oh.
Wasn't me this time.
Wasn't me this time either.
Hey, I see a Mike. How'd Mike get in here and disappear?
I don't know. I saw something and my screen went black and my video and my microphone went off. So I don't know what the hell happened.
You haven't. I don't know if it had something to do with Mike popping on or what, but yeah, that was crazy. Oh, and she's gone again. Huh. Fucking Rumble Studio.
We're just having difficulties today. That's all.
We'll blame it on Rumble was in the pool and his balls shrank or something.
Did
Welcome
you
back,
not
Miss Cora.
feed the gremlins, Maureen?
I fed everything.
I don't see me on the screen, though.
We see you.
Hmm.
But
It's all right.
yeah, Mike popped on for a second. I wonder if that's what messed it wasn't Mike that messed it up, it was Rumble that messed it up, but I think
Ugh.
when he came on it triggered a catalyst or something maybe.
That is
Your phone
entirely
needs,
possible.
Mike said his phone needs charged. Okay, bud. I get that. It definitely goes through something. There she goes again. But it definitely goes through some battery power when you're doing this.
Oh yeah. Jay was saying, the last time he was on that it was heating up his phone something fierce. So
Yeah, like mine right now, I'm down to probably 15% on my phone, and I started with 100% when we started,
oh damn.
and we've only been going an hour.
Yeah. This
I
is
wonder
why
if
I've got
something's wrong because we're losing viewers. We're down to 4 people watching, 5 people now.
might be. I don't know. It's not on my end. I'm okay for now. Looking some stuff up, but
Yeah, we still have our person on locals and Rumble and 3 on YouTube. It says. So we're
usually
glad
have
to
a
have you
bigger
here.
audience. Usually have a bigger audience than that, but it's good to see everybody.
Yeah, we'll
Not
do
that
the
I can
same
actually
show.
see you.
Well, we do the same show no matter how many people are here. So that's just the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's that article that I wanted to bring up. Keep going.
yeah, like I said earlier in the show, they're doing the harvesting right now. They got that cornfield in across the street done, and they're doing the soybean not back here behind the house, but on the other side across the street. Welcome back again.
I don't know. Could be my internet. I don't know.
Glad you're
Who
still here.
knows?
I think it's a glitch on Rumble's part.
Morning, Mike.
I'm using Tiny's tail to attack Whisker's ear. Andrew said, "Welcome back again, Cora." Yes, I need my hand for a second, you guys. So just hold still or you're going to slide off me. And there he goes. Whiskers, that doesn't work, dude. That's skin. Hi. There. No, poor Whiskers was getting crushed by Fluffy and was trying to move, and he kept grabbing a hold of my leg and digging his claws in and trying to pull himself out. That didn't feel too good. Is that your way of getting back at me for poking you in the forehead earlier?
Oh yeah, I found one of the articles I wanted to bring up. there were 2 incidents yesterday of helicopters intentionally destroying volunteer stuff in North Carolina. One of them happened in Burnsville. It was a H-60 type helicopter. Nobody seemed to have gotten a tail number. And the other was and the other was a National Guard Chinook.
Yep,
Yeah.
nice one.
The National Guard one, I don't know. I mean, that's not a small crew in a Chinook like that. I'm shocked that none of them had the balls to take that up the chain of command, or just break ranks and go public and say, yeah, you know what, they told us to go and wash out these people's supplies, and I feel horrible for it. That, or it was an accident. They know they screwed up, so they got to cover their asses. The H-60, on the other hand, I saw the footage on it yesterday, and yeah, it looks plenty deliberate to me. It's getting to the point where they're starting to pick fights. I can only imagine how shit's going to go in Florida, because
well, I'll tell you what, they're lucky somebody just didn't start shooting at them.
Honestly. Yeah, I was going to say that. They were really pushing the envelope with that. And just to bring up an anti-gun talking point, they keep saying that a 50 cal can down an airplane. Well, not really. However,
placement,
Ronnie Barrett, in his infinite wisdom, and I will say it without any hint of trolling, in his infinite wisdom, he invented the M82A2, of which only about a dozen were made. But it was an over-the-shoulder 50 caliber rifle specifically designed to shoot down unarmored helicopters, just like that. If somebody had one of those and decided this helicopter is actually attacking us by using its Ward rotor wash to destroy our supplies because we refuse to let FEMA come over and confiscate them, they should count themselves lucky that one of the many people on the ground did not have sufficient pew-pew force to actually make their lives a living hell. A civilianized H-60, yeah, you know what? If you can actually hit the cabin, take out the pilot or the co-pilot, or damage maybe part of the engine, yeah, there's going to be problems. That's going to start a shooting match. Because even if you don't down them, if only all you do is just injure the pilot, the co-pilot takes over and gets them the hell out of there, because you know what, shit's getting hairy. And they come
apply martial law, and
then they're going to come back, and then there's going to be problems, because they're going to land, they're going to say the rednecks are shooting at us for no reason, even though the rednecks all have video of this shit being, they started it. You know what? We were just defending ourselves, and then it's just going to call, one federal agency is going to come in, FBI is going to come in, they'll bring in ground troops from, I don't know, whatever fucking agency.
Oh yeah, then they'll be all over the fucking place. It won't matter that the roads are fucked up. They'll just come in anyway. If that was the case.
Yeah, it would literally be, that would be your Lexington and Concord right there, because it would start a miniature civil war in the mountains. And unfortunately for the feds, my money is on the rednecks that live up there, because they wouldn't. I can already tell you that the local National Guard, the vast majority of the unit would defect, so they would have to do this with federal agents, and they'd be pulling guys who don't know that area of the world. They would go up there in small teams trying to root them out, find out whoever's responsible, and they'd just vanish. Never to be seen again. And all of a sudden, somebody's pigs are a little bit fatter. No reason, no connection. Just the pigs are a little bit fatter, and they're very happy.
Why is your pig shitting out human teeth?
I don't know. Grandpappy fell in there last week. We haven't seen him since. Sure it was. I'm just saying, this could have gone absolutely horribly. Now, if they try that shit in Florida, considering how crazy some of the people in Florida are, they
Florida,
will
man.
start a shooting match. They will start a shooting match. Only it's going to be worse.
They'll have some old man hopped up on bath salts trying to eat their faces off.
No, I was going to say some Florida man is going to gather up his pet gators, go to the nearest Fed encampment or hotel or whatever, kick down doors and throw gators into their rooms. They don't even have to be that big to do damage. You know, a good 4 or 5 foot gator, you know, some city boy, they're not going to be able to handle that. You know, so all you have to do is kick down doors and start throwing gators into their beds with them in the middle of the night. Either they leave or they get bit and mauled by gators. Maybe killed, you know.
I think it was Mike. Mike sent me a video of a bunch of swamp area with that the gators were just going nuts. They were everywhere. And I said, yeah, I said, with all the flooding, it's just washing all kinds of shit down into the swamps. I said, they're just having a feeding frenzy right now. That's why they're all out and about and hanging out. Now, it would not be helpful for the residents, though, Mike. Well, I mean, depending if they're that hungry, they might start stacking their freezers with the meat, but I wouldn't suggest it. They probably taste horrible.
FEMA? Oh, yeah, I can guarantee you FEMA tastes horrible. I don't know what happened. I just lost connection all of a sudden.
Well,
it was just for like a second. Gator, on the other hand, that can be tasty.
You said government would cut them off from assistance. Yeah, Andrea, you said about asking if they were landing. No, they weren't landing. That was just malice. You can see by the angle that they attacked that tent with the food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They meant to blow stuff away. They meant to do damage by the angle and stuff. You can tell when you're bringing a chopper down, unless you're making a really steep descent because you're coming in fast, you want to be as level as possible.
Yep. You don't come in with a high angle of attack. You don't come in like this. You come in like this.
Yeah. So.
Hell, the government cutting them off from assistance. Oh, you know, you're attacking FEMA, so we're going to leave. Fine. Goodbye.
Get the fuck out of the way now. Mike said it's in Georgia. Not sure when it was filmed with the gators. Okay, but I could see the gators doing that right now with all the stuff that got washed down there for them to eat.
Mm-hmm.
We all wish that our government was better than what it is, Andrea. Unfortunately, our government's filled with a bunch of hypocritical assholes who think they're better than everybody fucking else. And, you know, they would love nothing more than to eradicate the poor and what they see as uneducated, unwashed folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said yesterday, I posted on Twitter, I posted on Discord and Facebook and everywhere else. I said the $750 offered to the American people in crisis right now, and then they go and send over almost 200 million to Lebanon.
157 in that one particular block. That's not counting how much they've sent over before or after.
So the slap in the fucking face, that was the equivalency of France when Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." That's what our government just fucking did to us.
It gets worse. That $750 could very well be a loan.
It is a loan. All FEMA funds are loans.
Yeah.
I've known people who had them. They were told that if they do not pay it back, they will garnish wages and they will seize land, property, and stuff.
As far as I'm concerned, all FEMA assistance should be a grant. It should not be a loan.
It should. I mean, there's people who paid taxes most of their lives that are dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, our government is it's a failed state. Honestly, Thomas said governors can kick FEMA out. I would at this point if I was North Carolina. Honestly, they're
I
not
would
doing
too.
any good at this point. Really.
I would too.
You know, I'm talking to somebody on Discord, and they're saying about they posted one video of somebody saying that there's people down there from FEMA helping, and they're doing this and doing that, and they got $100,000 in donations and blah blah blah. But I haven't seen any video of them actually going and doing anything except talking.
Yep.
I haven't seen video of them out delivering stuff. I haven't seen them. So that video of him saying, "Oh well, we got all this shit, we're doing all this, and people are here doing this and this and this," doesn't mean shit to me because I don't see what you're doing. I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
but that doesn't carry any weight. I've seen videos from the people that live there talking about their experiences.
One, two, three, four. You have a lap full, sir.
I have 5.
I can see 4 on the camera, and one of them is just
one's buried, one's cleaning. Whiskers is cleaning Fluffy at the moment.
Oh, if Mrs. Cal was here, she'd just spend all her time looking at them kitties. Of course, if Mrs. Cal was here, we'd probably have a dozen cats ourselves right about now. No, any FEMA assistance should be a gift, or I should say it should be a return on investment. You invested in the U.S. government with your taxes. You had a disaster. Federal government is responsible, since you pay so much in taxes that could have been saved for a literal rainy day like this. Give it to the government. Government should give it back tax-free. It shouldn't be counted as income. It should just be a gift. Okay, you lost your house. You had limited insurance that will cover, your house. Say it was worth, just to give it a number, say your house was worth $50,000. You had limited insurance. They'll write you out a check for $25,000. FEMA should then give you a check for the other $25,000, or at the very least $20,000, so that you're only out maybe $5,000 out of pocket, not including all the shit that was inside. Of course, that's probably another couple thousand worth of shit. But the point is that FEMA should be there to help you recover, get you back on your feet, and turn you back into a productive member of society as fast as possible, with as little damage and little interruption to your life as possible. That's why I was saying earlier, the one thing that FEMA should be doing is they should be saying, we've got stuff here, we move it there. We have people here, we move them there. That should be their only thing. And then once it gets local, they hand it over to the local agency that's in charge of disasters, whatever that may be. County fire department, county sheriff's department, whomever has operational command in a mass emergency like this should get control of whatever resources are being brought in. County A, well, we've got tons of water, because we've got wells all over the place. They're not polluted. They're not, inundated with seawater or whatever. We've got water. We're fine. Don't send us the bottled water. Send it to County B. County B has tons of food because, the local warehouse is just like, hey, you know what? This shit's going to just be absolutely destroyed. Just give it away to everybody in the area, because otherwise it's just going to go to waste. So we got tons of food, but we're lacking water. Well, we'll give some of our food to County A. They give us their water, and they figure it out between themselves, or they take it up to the governor's office, the governor's office of emergency management. And then to assist with recovery, FEMA should be going in and saying, okay, well, let's see, your house is worth $50,000. It's obviously uninhabitable now. We'll just call it a total loss, but we're not going to give you a loan. We're going to give you a grant. We're going to give you the money that is in our budget. We don't expect you to pay us back. You've already paid into this with your taxes in general. So Here, we'll cut you a check. Okay, your insurance is going to cover $30,000 worth of losses. Your house and land were valued at 50 before this. We'll cut you a check for 20. Here you go. Here's your money. Do with it whatever you need to. Move out of the area if that's what you want to do. We don't care. Just here's your money. Here's the return on your investment. It is not a loan from the government. It is a gift. It is a return of at least a chunk of the taxes that you have paid into it previously to help you recover from this grave disaster. And boots on the ground immediately, one of the things that they should be armed with is, besides just giving out the basic necessities of life, which is food, water, maybe clothes if necessary. I don't know what kind of disaster we're dealing with here. Just, food, clothes, whatever. Here, take this. It's the government issue shit. Here is a government issue pair of jeans. It's the same as Wranglers or whatever, or Eds or whatever the fuck. The name brand from Walmart. Their little brand. Here, it's the government equivalent of that. Here's a whole bunch of government white T-shirts that say FEMA on them. Here's our merch. Here's something to wear so you're not butt naked. Here's a basic toiletry kit. We should have this shit down to a freaking science by now. It's been how many years since FEMA was founded? It's older than me, not by too much, but it's older than me. At this point, they should have an airdroppable kit in some kind of a foam-lined sports bag that contains a basic 24-hour kit of shit. Basic food, basic water, and it's airdroppable in these little pouches. And every time a helicopter flies over, should be able to just fling these things out of the side. They should be, nothing in there should be so fragile that it'll burst open upon landing. You just throw it on out there. And then another set of kit, in gym bags, full-size gym bags. They just roll up with these gym bags and just start handing the gym bags off to people. Inside those gym bags will be a basic outfit of clothes, pair of underwear, pair of socks, pair of your most average possible jeans, a T-shirt, just so you have something to wear, and freaking Crocs, for crying out loud. Crocs are among, they're the most hideous footwear in the world, but at the same time, if you have no shoes at all, they are better than nothing because you can just cast them out of rubber. Or some variant of plastic. You use recycled plastic. They don't even need to last more than 2 months. It just need to be something people can put on their feet for now. You just hand those out, in freaking tote bags, with a little more food, maybe some bottles of water, maybe a stuffy for the kids, so they have something to curl up with, a little stuffy that has a little tiny female sweatshirt on it or something. And if it's cold, for God's sakes, you hand out a different set of those tote bags that have a hoodie in it that says FEMA. That should be, we should have this recovery shit down to an absolute science. Instead, what we end up with is quite possibly one of the dumbest government organizations I have ever seen. And they started off bad and then they got worse. Of course, that's just everything with government starts out bad and gets worse. But this especially is very distressing, because these are the ones that should be going in after a natural disaster or a man-made disaster and saying, here. When they say we're from the government and we're here to help, that you should be
run like hell.
To hear. Yeah, instead of running like hell, you should be happy to hear those words when FEMA shows up. Instead, when FEMA shows up, that's when things get really bad. That's when things they're going to micromanage. No, you have to have a certain type of training.
I saw another video yesterday where these people that were going and helping were driving down the road, and they went past, and out of 6 people in this vehicle, only one saw the FEMA tent set up because of where it was placed so shittily. It was placed in somewhere where you couldn't see it. Yep. And they're like, well, why are you set up back here where no one can see you? They said you should be set up, and they're like, well, one of them, somebody else had said about them setting up at a car wash, which is right along the road there where everybody would see them. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to set up there tomorrow. Well, what fucking good does that do people now? If
now, go ahead.
And then they're just fucking sitting around and waiting. They're not going out to finding people.
Yeah. Now, here's another anecdotal story. There was somebody from Mayfield, Kentucky, I believe it was. And they related the story to me about FEMA. There was a major tornado outbreak in that area a few years ago, and it was bad. FEMA went in and made things just a million times worse. A million times worse. They chased the food trucks off. These people had nothing to eat. They told the food trucks they had to park at least 3 miles away from the disaster zone for their own safety. The fuck are these people supposed to go get food? Most of them didn't have cars anymore. Cars have been blown away. The fuck are they supposed to get down there?
You're expecting college graduates who are working for the government to actually use some common sense. And we all know that fucking left their heads long ago.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be working for FEMA. Still, it's just some of the regulations that FEMA has created seem, hell-bent to make the situation just a million times worse. This is why I was saying, we need to scrap FEMA and go back to the Civil Defense Organization. It was locally based, made up of people from the community, gathering resources from within the community and whatever they could requisition from the federal government as necessary. It was a bottom-up organization, not a top-down organization. That is how disaster response should have been handled. It should have been from the bottom up. It should have been the people on the ground, the local civil defense coordinators, civil defense volunteers, all that sort of thing. As soon as the hurricane and all that shit passes, they'd be the first ones to stick their heads out and start saying, okay, let's get our shit organized. Let's get our civil defense organization, our local county civil defense organization set up. Let's get our doctors, civil defense doctors, volunteers lined up, get our civil defense feeding kitchen set up. Well, our feeding kitchen got destroyed. All right, requisition another one from further away. Get it over here as soon as possible. We'll work things around. We'll work with the civil defense of the next county over and see what they've got left. That is the way you handle disaster response. Handling it from the top down was this. I don't know why in the fuck Carter did this. I mean, I get some of the reason why he did this because he wanted better coordination from the federal government. But creating FEMA was probably one of his biggest blunders. And he's still alive.
I'd be saying something. I'd be saying something because Carter, before Biden, was hands down the worst president, second worst president, because Buchanan had to get the first worst president. He's the one that basically led up to the Civil War because of his inactivity. But yeah, Carter's in my view was the second worst president in history, just because of the way he first off handled the trade embargo that ended up with the oil shortage, that ended up with rationing and all that shit in the late 70s. And he just passed really horrible legislation.
Mm-hmm.
He was a weak man. Cora said they had the civil defense when she was growing up.
Yeah. I've got a civil defense poster around here somewhere that shows off. It was surplus from one of the buildings in my town. Shows off what the symbols for everybody's armbands are supposed to be. What they mean.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's basically this is so whose everybody's job is. And it was a
no,
pretty
you're
big
not
poster.
asking the wrong people to do the wrong job.
Right. You can look at him from a distance and be like, okay, that guy is an engineer. We've got a road over here that's completely blocked off. Can you put a work crew together, get up there and clear it? Medical. This person over here is injured.
Also makes it easier for you to see who's fucking off and not doing their job.
Yes.
Thomas says, problem is states are letting FEMA take over when their job is to provide resources. Yeah, the government's just supposed to get supplies and shit like that. They're not supposed to be mandating, oh, well, you can't do this or you can't do that. And you can't fly a drone to show that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Which we all know that's the only fucking reason that they put that no-fly zone in place.
Yeah. Now, think about it this way. If we didn't have drones, if this had happened, let's take the technology from 24 years ago and move it up to today instead.
Oh, we would just been believing whatever was on the fucking news.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how.
We wouldn't know anything about what's going. We would hear these trickles of stories coming down out of the mountains because 24 years ago, not everybody had a camera on their phone. We would have been hearing trickles of
24
stories.
years ago, not everybody had phones down there.
Yeah. We would have been hearing trickles of stories of shit happening up there, and FEMA would have been all over there screwing everything up, and they could have literally murdered thousands of people we would never have known. Murdered them through neglect or active action we would never have known. Never have known. Now, here's another thing. A few days ago, I was saying, they're doing this partially to fuck with the vote. Well, I've got numbers to back it up now. The entire affected area came out roughly 4-1 for Trump, or 5-1. But it was like 527,000 pro-Trump votes versus 120-something thousand Biden votes from the last election. That is a very, very stupidly high ratio, and that is a larger number than I expected. That is a lot of votes. They were trying to, but they were going to try and keep those votes from working towards the state. Because, if they can suppress roughly 400,000 votes and then invent another 100,000 votes out of nowhere, they could steal North Carolina for Harris. But North Carolina wasn't going to let that happen. They've already gone through the process of approving alternative voting rules and locations for the 13 affected counties in Western North Carolina. So if they can get these people, if the Redneck Air Force, the Cajun Navy, and I don't know, the New York Limousine Association from upstate New York, where it's nice and deep red, can get down there and get these people to polling places, they can get them vote. They can get them to vote, and then their votes will be counted. So
thank you, Jamie. Okay, Dave, we're glad you're listening, bud.
Good to see you, Dave, even if you're not seeing us, or vice versa. We're not seeing you. Good to at least know that you're okay. We do worry about all of our friends. I may get up here and I may spout off about all this horrible bad news and stuff, but I only do that because I care. If I didn't care about you, I'd just be talking about wild ass stories of my childhood and nothing but. I wouldn't address anything important or serious. So how are the cats doing over there?
I lost 3 of them. I only got 2. I'm down to Fluffy and what the fuck's your name? Oh,
that
Sweet
Tiny?
Pea, that's it.
Oh,
That's just Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is the one that's all gray with tiger stripes like inlaid into it. Tiny's actual like tan and brown tiger stripe. It's hard to tell them all apart when it's dark. But yeah, I took in before we even got started. I went out and fed them all and made sure they had water and all that happy stuff. And
oh yeah,
that's why they're napping now. They have full bellies.
What wild stories? Please do tell. Maybe someday, Andrea. Maybe someday. You'll get it out of me eventually. That's one thing. That's one thing y'all can learn about me. Those of you that don't know already, I mean, Chris kind of knows. I'm very chatty when it comes to myself and the things that have happened to me because I like. Mike, sorry for your loss, Chris.
Huh? My loss.
He's talking about your lap warmers.
My lap
Pretty
warmer.
sure. Pretty sure. Well, I'm not going to call him what Cora was calling him. That's just rude. That's just rude.
My ball warmers.
No, I am very chatty about my past because I've had some very interesting things happen to me in my day. And I do love talking about it. Not that I'm bragging. It's not that I'm bragging about the shit that happened, because some of it is pretty horrific. But it's one of those things where I feel it's important to get some kind of an underlying message out. Like what happened with me and my uncle. He's wood chipper fuel, or at least he was. He karma got him in the end. Let's just say it that way. I'm not going to go into too many details right now, but the underlying message is karma will get you in the end. Got him, and he paid for what he done. He paid very well, and I was, they say that the Christian thing to do is to not wish death upon another human being. Well, those things are not human, as J.D. DeLay would say. And I completely agree with him. They're not human anymore once they cross that line. Ergo, wishing for their death is not an unchristian act. It is an act of mercy upon the rest of the world that this terrible evil, this irredeemable sinner, is removed from a position where he can prey upon the tiniest lambs of society.
That sounds like a good plan then, Jamie. Jamie said didn't sleep great last night, so she may take a nap today. Andrea said she has a hoodie on and freezing. She needs to turn her heat on today.
Oh, it's gonna be 84 around here.
We're going to get to 68 today, and by the end of the week we're going to be down in the low 60s, like barely getting into the 60s.
That sounds beautiful. I wish we could get that.
Go get him. You're not going to go get him? Like, fuck you.
He's like, nah, I'm comfortable. I've got a human pet in me. I'm nice and warm.
You just had to readjust, apparently. Old Testament, eye for an eye. Yeah, hand for hand.
For certain things, that's really the only way you can go. This is also why, let me phrase it this way, because I got to phrase this just the right way. When you have a criminal organization that does not fear killing the police because they don't believe that they're going to get any repercussions for it, then you lose a vital tool. If they don't fear the police, they won't do anything when they see the police. They'll flip them off and continue doing their criminal activities. Or worse, they'll start taking shots at the police. Or worse, they'll start hunting the police. The Japanese were very keen about this, especially in the old days. That's why Japanese police never carried or were issued badges of any kind. In fact, they do not have any identifiable marks on their uniform at all. There is no badge numbers. They have a crest that they wear on their patrol hats, but that's it. It's just a generalized crest. Other than that, it's just a very plain uniform. It's a working belt with if you're issued one. If you're traffic police, you don't get a gun. But if you're a standard street cop, you get a revolver with 4 bullets and 1 blank. No backup ammunition. You get a baton, handcuffs, and a radio. It's very basic equipment. Other than that, it looks like you're wearing an office shirt and office pants. It's just they happen to be police colors. That's so the criminals can't track down individual police officers by some, identifiable number or something. The detectives, they do get something equivalent of an ID number just to track them internally, but it's not something that the public sees. They understand, because the criminals used to be very keen on hunting down and intimidating the police back in the old days in Japan. There was, in fact, an anime that I saw. It was Lupin III, and one of this great treasures of Lupin's ancestor was that he had a code book that contained the names of every police officer in Edo, Japan, which would have been absolutely invaluable to the criminal organizations at the time, because then they could have just gone to their houses and been like, yep, so that's what time your kids get home from school. You know what's good for you, and you want to be there to see them get home from school and them not be strung up and disemboweled, you'll stay out of this neighborhood at this time. Bye. They did shit like that back then. Japan had a kind of a handle on that. They didn't identify their cops. America took things a little differently, a lot differently. there was, especially in some of the bigger cities, there was a line you didn't cross with the police. You didn't intentionally murder cops. You didn't go out there and maliciously murder police officers. Now, if you get into a shootout with them and they happen to die, that's one thing. But you don't go hunting down cops, because if you did, well, the reputation was you won't see the inside of a courtroom.
Have a great
Now,
day, Thomas. Be safe. We'll talk to you later, bud.
take care, Thomas. See, when it comes to ones maliciously hunting down your average cop, I mean, I can't disagree with the idea that they shouldn't see the inside of the courtroom, that they should see a little street justice, and they shouldn't be allowed to survive. Because if the animals get the idea that they will just go to trial, they won't face any real repercussions for wantonly hunting down and murdering police officers, then they're just going to start doing it. They're going to get a slap on the wrist. They might get 5 to 10 years in jail, whatever, partially suspended sentence because, he's from a disadvantaged minority or whatever the fuck. And then they will lose any fear of the police that they used to have. And once they lose the fear of the police will start fearing them. The police will start fearing, what's going to happen if I decide to go out today and try and stop street crime? And they just decide to up and fucking murder me. Well, my brothers in blue won't be able to do shit about it. They'll have to treat the guy with kid gloves. They'll have to bring him in. They'll have to treat him with respect. They'll have to, all this shit. And then when he actually gets into a courtroom, I'll be lucky if he gets 5 or 10 years in jail. The second he gets in there, he's be treated like a fucking hero by a lot of the prisoners in there.
Well, here's my thoughts on people who go in and do stupid shit in schools. They should not be allowed to come out unless they're unalived. That's just, why are we, if they're doing something that heinous, they don't deserve to breathe the same air as the rest of us anymore.
I'm saying in a broader sense, in the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth sort of deal. There needs to be very, very clear limits. Yes, we can play patty cake with people that do graffiti and maybe break windows and shit like that. But when they graduate to true hardcore crimes, when they end the life of another person, most especially when they end the life of a police officer. Joe Friday said it best in Dragnet. If a criminal is wanted enough to want to kill a police officer, they will go that far. How far do you think they're going to go when confronted with a regular civilian?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
And if the bar...
It's also like Mike Tyson said, there's too many people who are too comfortable with saying shit because they know that they're not going to get confronted and punched in the mouth for it.
Yeah.
It emboldens people. It's the same way with what you're talking about. When they're able to get away with stuff and they get a slap on the wrist, it emboldens other people to do the same thing or worse.
Now, on the flip side of this, and I do want to bring this up, this is a very important other side of the coin. Police officers need to be held to a much higher standard than they are in some places. Any police officer that's found acting in a corrupt fashion, and I don't just mean, taking bribes, shaking down drug dealers, shit like that. No, I'm talking about finding random people on the street, harassing the fuck out of them, roughing them up, shit like that. Cops that wantonly go out and violate the civil rights and constitutional rights of the people. As far as I'm concerned, not only should they lose their jobs as cops, but they should serve double the prison time that any normal civilian would. When a cop is found to be crooked as fuck, they have broken not just a certain trust with the community, but they have broken a vow, a solemn vow that they took to uphold the law. And here they are, not just breaking it, but using it for their own pleasure. That is the greatest perversion of justice that you can possibly imagine. The ones with power using it not for just for their own gain, but their own sick pleasure. They need to be punished.
The police community needs to do a better job of policing themselves. so that it
Yes.
doesn't get to the point where we have to deal with them.
Yeah, well, we've lowered recruitment standards regularly over the last 40 years. That aside, like I said, every police officer that puts on the uniform, I'm not going to say every single one of them is going to be a paragon of virtue. We all know that. There's always going to be some level of corruption within the police force. Any police force, big or small. But when, you look at YouTube or TikTok or whatever these days, and, you just scroll around for a little bit, chances are you're going to find at least a video or two of some cop deciding to walk all over some citizen's constitutional rights because their ego was bruised. Or they felt like they were losing control of the situation. And you're dealing with people who are such control freaks that if you aren't actively crawling around like a dog licking their boots and calling them master, they don't feel like they're in control and safe.
Mm.
Those sorts of cops, when found, need to be removed from any position of power. They need to be completely disenfranchised. They should be, in fact, so blackballed within the greater community of this country that they shouldn't be allowed to work private security. They shouldn't be even allowed to work as a crossing guard. They should not be allowed to have any form of authority at all or any responsibility for the safety of another person. That means they can't jump over to the fire department or the EMTs, or the fire marshals, or anything like that. And if found truly violating the law in such a way that they've committed a crime, if they didn't have qualified immunity, should be tried, jury of their peers, and if they're sentenced, like I said, they should do double the time of an average civilian, so that they know that when they're caught violating people's civil rights and fragmenting the community with their behavior, when they're caught, not if, because everybody's got cameras these days, when they're caught, they will be punished very harshly. They lose their pension, they lose everything that they've worked for, they go to jail, they are disenfranchised, and their job opportunities afterwards are highly restricted because they can never be allowed with power again. They have demonstrated to everyone what kind of power-mad petty dictators they really are. Therefore, they cannot be trusted with the tools of responsibility anymore. They never can.
Yeah.
And that once we get that message out, because we got to work on both sides. We've got to work on both sides. The criminals have to know to fear killing, just hunting down and killing cops just because they want to. And at the same time, we have to have cops that are respectable enough to say, oh, well, we can't kill these guys. They're actually decent. Instead of saying, well, they're hunting down and killing cops, but so far, 3 out of the 7 cops that they killed are, well, that cop just kicked some guy in the balls yesterday for filming him on the street. That guy over there, dumped out that one guy's trash can because he looked at him the wrong way. And that third guy over there, well, he's been pulling people over for doing 1 mile above the speed limit and then, giving them huge ass tickets for no fucking reason, just because they have to be driving a Ford or a Chrysler or some shit. And he's jealous, we can't be in a society where we're saying that, because, then what few true defenders of public policy and safety that we have, they get swamped by so many bad reports, so many bad apples, that all of a sudden the idea of criminal organizations randomly offing cops isn't as unpalatable anymore. Then we start getting comfortable with the idea of, well, maybe we should think about cutting back police operations because so many of these cops are petty tyrants. Maybe fewer cops is the answer. And that's just a long and dangerous road towards ruin right there, because then you lose any sense of order. Hello, Fred.
Court is on the phone. But yeah, well, I think it's about time for us to go ahead and hop off here because I got to get up and move. My back's starting to hurt. And I've been a cat bed for long enough.
All right, everybody. I will see you later. Y'all take care.
All right. Thanks for being here, Kyle. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Appreciate y'all. And
Be good.
Graham, I'll give you a call here in a minute, and I'll chat with you if you're not too busy. So, all right, y'all be safe. Have a great day. Love yous, and we're out. Peace, y'all.